Welcome, everybody. You may or may not have heard this because you've probably grown tired of yet another challenge to the Affordable Care Act. But Obamacare, which is the same thing as the ACA, remember, Obamacare has survived another challenge, and this one in the Supreme Court via a 7-2 decision, which we're going to look at in a moment. At this point, it's time to stop even thinking about Obamacare as this additional thing on our healthcare system. It's been 11 years. The fundamentals of Obamacare are just now part of the not that great healthcare system that we have in the United States. And increasingly, at this point, dozens and dozens of House votes when Republicans controlled the House to try to undo it, various different legal and constitutional challenges, Donald Trump and 4 years of trying to gut it, despite the fact that he had nothing sensible or reasonable to replace it with. We just now have our healthcare system, and it includes some Obamacare provisions, and we now need to move forward from where we are. But there are many who don't want to accept that, and there are many who want to continue pretending that there is still this appendage that is Obamacare, which could just be clipped off very, very easily. It's just part of our system at this point in time. Let's look at some of the reporting on this from CNBC. The Supreme Court ruled on Thursday against Texas and other Republican-led states seeking to strike down Obamacare in the law's latest test before the nation's highest court. The top court voted 7-2 to reverse an appeals court ruling that had struck down the law's individual mandate provision. That is the provision that Donald Trump very aggressively tried to attack, because if you get rid of that, you are really doing significant damage to the way Obamacare works. Justice Stephen Breyer, who authored the opinion of the court, said that Texas and the other states that challenged the law failed to show that they were harmed by it. In legal terms, the states failed to demonstrate that they had standing. Neither the individual nor the state plaintiffs have shown that the injury they will suffer or have suffered is fairly traceable to the allegedly unlawful conduct of which they complain. The decision is a major victory for the legislation, which former President Barack Obama signed in 2010. It's a crucial element of the nation's healthcare system. Joe Biden has vowed to expand its reach. The decision marks the third time that Obamacare has survived a challenge before the Supreme Court. Defenders of the law worried that the panel, which is now a 6-3 Republican-appointed majority, would scrap the legislation, which has long been criticized by conservatives. Chuck Schumer said each time in each arena, the Affordable Care Act has prevailed. Going on to say, let me say definitively, the Affordable Care Act has won. The Supreme Court has ruled. The ACA is here to stay, and now we're going to try to make it bigger and better. What a day. What is most frustrating to me about this is that Obamacare did good things, but it's really no incredible victory. It's not God's gift since sliced bread or whatever other metaphors and analogies you want me to embarrassingly mix together. We really, I've said before, Medicare for all is not the only way. And I've spoken recently to other people on the left who have a similar perspective. If you look at what Germany has done with a multi-payer system, if you set up a system where the health insurance companies exist, but they must be nonprofits and have to compete with a government plan, if you want to do a combination system like France has, or in Amsterdam, in the Netherlands, in Holland, taxes are higher than in the United States, and people pay a small fee for a comprehensive healthcare system. At least my friend who works in Amsterdam does. But overall, it's way cheaper than in the United States, and you have access and quality is quite good. There are other ways that we can get everybody coverage that is good. So this is not about it has to be Medicare for all, which I would be very much open to. This is about the fact that 11 years later, we're still arguing about something that is, number one, not a miraculously great thing, although it does good things. And number two, is not radical. The fact that in other countries, there are so many phases beyond where we are, and we're at half the country, or at least half the elected officials, want to get rid of Obamacare. The other half want to keep it. Joe Biden wants a public option, but there's real questions about whether there's any practical way that it's actually going to be made a reality anytime soon, which would be a great failing for Joe Biden, to be absolutely and completely clear. It's humiliating that this is even the conversation that's happening in the United States when you look at every other country that's at our level of wealth and our level of development. And so, when you ask me what is the most disgusting thing about this, is it disgusting that Republicans, when they had the House, had like 60 something votes to try to repeal Obamacare, even though it was going to go nowhere? Yes, that's disgusting. Is it disgusting that Republicans continue to try to work within the legal system at different state level courts all the way up to the Supreme Court, and that Trump made it such a priority during his presidency to get rid of Obamacare, even though he had nothing sensible to replace it with? All of that stuff is disgusting. There's no question about it whatsoever. But the really crazy part to me is that this is so milquetoast. This is so, listen, it's good. Healthcare.gov, it's good that it was created. Keeping people to age 20 up to 26 on parent insurance, that's good. Pre-existing conditions, it's good. It's not that those things aren't good. It's crazy that those things even needed to be done in 2010. But the fact that 11 years have gone by, and other than some really small tweaks, mostly because of coronavirus, we are not anywhere beyond Obamacare, and there are still efforts being made to get rid of it. That's actually the disgusting part, that it's something so milquetoast and unremarkable. So Obamacare survived again in the Supreme Court. Great. Now maybe we can find something else to actually get done over this 11-year period during which it's been basically just fending off attacks on Obamacare from Republicans. I don't know. We'll follow and see what happens. One of our sponsors today is Blue Chew, a unique online service delivering the same active ingredients as Viagra and Cialis in a chewable form and at a fraction of the cost. And they're giving my audience an entire month's supply for free. So if you think you could benefit from an extra boost of confidence when it's time, all you have to do is take a short quiz on their website. A licensed doctor approves your prescription. The medication comes straight to your home within days in a discreet package. No driving around to the doctor's office or the pharmacy. No waiting around. No awkward conversations with your doctor. All of Blue Chew's tablets are made in the USA. The entire process is just a few clicks. Go to bluechew.com. The link is underneath this video. They'll give you an entire month's supply for free when you use the promo code Pakman. All you have to do is pay $5 shipping.